Well, I guess I'll start with an update on the garden from when I left. The lilies didn't totally bloom, so I guess they decided to wait for us. And I guess my little tree must have taken root because these leaves not showing a whole lot of growth, but they're definitely bigger than they were when I left. The one plant that seems to be doing swimmingly is the tree that I'm getting rid of. So sadly, now that that other tree's taken root, I will probably be taking this guy down, but he is definitely making a much better showing than he was a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Sadly, that's not going to help him because, as I talked about a couple weeks ago, we have some issues with roots running up against sprinklers and against the power and phone line for the house, so it's got to go. In prepping for the trip, we had a lot of food that we had to send down the disposal, and that seems not to have worked out all that well. We found the disposal had a hole in it, and there was water on everything under the sink, so we got a new disposal installed.
Well, despite the fact that we were traveling all week, I read 3 different books, and I guess if you know me, that's not very surprising. So, let me tell you a little bit about what I read. I read Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon, and it was part of a series of fairy tale retellings set in a posh private school setting, and with people that are, royalty and have a lot of money. I felt like it was a fun series, despite it not really matching my vibe. So, Of Curses and Kisses was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I felt like there was some depth to each of the characters as to why they were the way they were, and I felt like as it established some of the other side characters, I would see them again in another book, and it was a lot of fun. Just a basic contemporary romance.
Katrina swung by home to visit the dentist, and it happened to line up with a very obscure memory of one time that I changed my birthday on Facebook to July 19th. The Facebook change was to see how many people knew my birthday and how many people just were trusting Facebook. Anyway, I took the opportunity to say that we needed to go out to dinner for my birthday. Punchline to the Facebook story is that the next day I changed my birthday to July 20th. Most people caught on by then, but luckily now I have 3 days a year that I can claim that are my birthday.
I also read Of Princes and Promises by Sandhya Menon, and it was a set in the same spot up at this private school, ritzy private school outside of Aspen. That's probably why I picked up the series, is it was talking about Colorado places. And this one was kind of a Frog Prince retelling, and it didn't follow quite as closely, or maybe I just don't know the Frog Prince story nearly as well, but it ended up being really interesting. There's a touch of magic in each of them, but nothing to kind of throw off the contemporary romance vibe. I enjoyed that one as well.
And we end our week with a heck of a rainstorm.
The third book that I read in the middle of our New York trip was called Dungeons and Drama by Kristy Boyce. And Dungeons and Drama I really loved. It was pretty short, but it just had so many great things. It had a theater kid who was super excited about the musical, and she gets in trouble and ends up having to work at her dad's game store. Dad's favorite employee and her don't rub shoulders well to start with, but after a series of familiar tropes. They decide to pretend to be dating to benefit both of them, and their relationship progresses from there in a really interesting way. I felt like, even though it was short, it had a lot of fun, depth, and it was light, and also had some, issues that teens, especially this one young woman who her parents were recently divorced. She was just dealing with a lot of questions around that, and I felt like it addressed those really well. I would definitely recommend Dungeons and Drama.